Hi again. I've collected together things to make the paper mache cover of this dinosaur that we made yesterday. We need some PVA glue for paper mache and a tub. I've put the glue in there already, and we need to have a bit of water in the PVA in a minute. I've got water to mix it to make it a little bit thinner. I've collected together a few other things as well. Newspaper, can you see that? Newspaper and just a fixing masking tape. And I thought we're going to put the newspaper on to start with to make it have a nice skin and make it stronger. And then if you haven't got paint at home, I thought maybe you'd have some colour paper or even plain paper and you can colour in afterwards. Or you might have rough bits of paper hanging around like I have, or wrapping paper, just to give it a nice colour at the end to cover it. But anyway, so I'm going to do it with newspaper first, and then orange paper because I happen to have that. But you could use just normal plain paper, and then at the end I'm going to make it spotty with a bit of paint. But you could cut out collage shapes and stick it on. You could also decorate, if you wanted to make it more imaginary rather than real, you could do spikes on its back or gills on its side or give it wings or anything. So I've ripped up my newspaper. Before you meddle with the glue, rip up your newspaper, and oddly it rips better one way than the other. So if you put the fold up at the top and rip down, it rips nice and smooth. And don't cut too many tiny pieces, but just quite biggish pieces. Unless you've got a really detailed part to go along, and then you need some smaller pieces as well. So rip yourself up a nice fluffy pile of newspaper. Wish you could see that. And then also, before you get gluey hands, rip up yourself a pile of your colour paper or plain paper for the top. It does actually rip better one way than the other again, I found today. It rips better the long ways down if you've got an A4 piece of paper. So ripping it up and preparing your thing. So in front of me now, that's gone in the glue. In front of me now I've got the glue. God, you can't see that. The glue and the dinosaur and the newspaper pile, and I think I'll give him some stripes of stuff at the end. Oh, we might need to fix him a bit before we start. Yeah, I think I might give him some stripes around his neck for fun. So just preparing all that before. Yeah, that would look nice, wouldn't it? Maybe not. Anyway, right. Anyway, you can paper mache anything. So I'm going to do this as a paper mache session, and you can come back and refer to the paper mache. I'm not going to do this one again. You pour in a bit of, I've taken my rings off, put my hair up. I'm putting a little bit of water into the tub of glue and mixing it up. It's PVA, just normal PVA. You can get it in so many places, like, I won't say, but PVA glue, safe PVA glue, not the sort of stuff that you get, so it's not quite runny enough, not the sort of stuff you get from the hardware shop, which is going to wreck your hands, but school safe PVA glue. And then you need to just mix it, not too runny, otherwise it won't stick, but so that it's like double cream, thick double cream. And then you've got mucky hands anyway, and you've got to just dip your hand in, rub it around and stick it on. And this is just to make it strong and make it have a nice like skin. Oh no. Oh no. There we go. I think I should have checked him first for wobbly legs. Perhaps I'll do his underside first. Make sure that's strong. That would be better. and then I'll just explain to you what I'm doing and then fast forward it. It's quite tricky to get around the edges, and you need to rub the paper down. Probably best to start on the underside. So you're getting that nice and gluey. You're not getting it so gluey that it's running. I think I've put too much water in. It's not sticking so well. Make sure it's nice thick glue. And then carry on layering and layering. And the smoother you can get it, the better. So if it's too big, just rip it. The smoother you can get it on, the better. And then you'll get nice surface. If you put it on and it's not rubbed down properly, you're going to have trouble. Because then at the end, if you do have paint and you want to paint it, it's not going to be a nice smooth skin. So I think that's enough explaining for now. If you've got any questions, you can ask me underneath the YouTube channel thing, or if you're on my Cowish Facebook page, you can ask me there as well. It gets tricky when it all gets shared, so I don't know where to look. It all gets shared out into millions of different things. So if I'm not answering you, it's because I haven't been able to check all the different places that the conversation goes, and so just write on the actual Catwish like Facebook page your question, or show me photos of your finished things. That would be really, really, really great. I can't wait to see them. So I know that woodpeckers in Plumpton School, their homework is to make a junk dinosaur, so we're starting with that. And tomorrow we'll be doing Roman mosaics, because I know that the kingfishers have to do that, and we'll do it with all sorts of stuff, not just seeds and beans and stuff. So I think I'll stop yabbering on now. I'd say my glue is not really thick enough, and I think I'll do this in fast time and then show you at the end. Bit gluey. There. Now, while I decorate it, I'll explain a few things that I forgot to mention before. One of which was, if you make this too gluey, it'll get really, really heavy and really, really soggy, and then it'll take ages and ages to dry, and then you'll have like a pool of glue on the bottom. Another thing is, as you're turning it around and moving it, it gets, I should be doing this, it gets stuck onto the paper underneath. It's really frustrating. If you can find a plastic cover for your table, that'll help a lot. Otherwise, you just have to maybe do it in a pair. Ask someone to do it with you. I'm cutting out bits of pattern and sticking it on for decoration. You don't have to decorate it. And also, if you didn't want to put this layer of colour on the top with paper, you could wait for it to dry, your newspaper version, and just paint it. So I'm going to squeeze a bit of just acrylic paint on, because I've got some, and there's my brush, and I'm going to give him an eyeball, he, she, it, and there. I'm going to make some nice spots as well, just for fun. And I didn't bother doing the feet because they were really fiddly, so I'm going to paint them. Feet, legs, feet. And then, it'll be easier to paint actually if you leave it to dry first. So leaving it to dry, you might want to put it somewhere safe. Put it so that it's got a nice like on a windowsill or somewhere out the way, but definitely put it still onto a bit of newspaper or a bit of plastic sheeting so that you can so he hasn't got a spotty neck, so that you can maybe a different colour eye, maybe cut out some paper and draw one. If you've used acrylic paint, you have to wash out your brush straight away because it dries on and then you've lost your brush. And I think we're finished. There are probably lots of questions that I haven't answered. Remember to rub on the paint paper really carefully, and if it all falls apart, doesn't matter, do another one. Or yeah, so make sure, just check before you start paper mache. Make sure that the sellotape, the masking tape is stuck on really well. Nothing's going to fall off because your base bit is the most important bit. Okay, so remember mosaics tomorrow, and then we'll do something for 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, and maybe a mixed age group thing. And if you've got any ideas that you've got for homework, maybe I can help. Even if it's Betty in year 7 has got to make a little picture, a relief picture of Midsummer Night's Dream. Maybe she'll model that. Bye.